As the fight continues, the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Tukur Buratai, in July 2015 changed strategy to suit the challenge. His new strategy was captured in the rename of the code name from the War on Terror from Operation Zaman Lafia to Operation Lafia Dole, signaling his determination to attain peace by force in the Northeast. In recent times, the military has taken to giving updates on the level of victory against Boko Haram. The achievement includes territory recovered.
We are zeroing in on Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states, which of course gives you what you have. The various locations that are pointed out in blue indicate where we have operated and cleared throughout. So here you find the fringes of the Lake Chad. We are, of course, yet to go into the Lake Chad waters. That, of course, will be entering anywhere from now. But all these locations you can find. Here is Kangaroo Arege, this is Malam Fatori, and of course back to Gashiga, to Damasak.
And just as the areas are being recovered, the Army reveals that through mop-up operations, they have discovered items suspected to have been used by the terrorist group, from uniforms, training books, to ammunition.
You could see that this loot, the way we captured this one actually is from Chikungudu, from 8 Task Force Deep area. Now the way these things are, thank you. I'm sure you know that the person is not settled. This person is on the move. Now this was actually all these ones were gotten from Sambisa. This, of course, you know what it is. And then we also found out, of course, my colleagues helped me to interpret that this is an adulterated hadith, because hadiths are not supposed to be written, are not supposed to be, copied. Am I right? But that's precisely what you have here. Now, what you also have here is a set of presses that tells you how to use various armaments. So, giving you lesson by lesson. So that tells you that perhaps they were establishing something close to a school. So that's what you find in this. And then here you find the uniform. I'm sure you must have seen Sheka and all those holding whatever guns around him each time all those funny videos that he used to. So this is the kind of uniforms that we also found. Here you find these are lesson notes, how to make bombs and IEDs. That's what is contained here. And then of course these are some receipts, which appear to look like a property of those who, I think, Samisa became too hot for them, so their way running, they couldn't go with this again. It became too heavy for them. Items recovered include a general purpose machine gun, AK-47 rifles, 2,269 rounds of 7.62 millimeter ammunition, RPG bomb. Of course, I'm sure you'll see them right on the screen, and as well as other equipment. In that encounter on that day, of course, 5 Boko Haram terrorists were killed, and including 2 who were suicide bombers. On the 23rd of January, about 0900 hours, own troops at Dikwa conducted operations to Sinabaya and Maskite village. The patrol cleared the village, and of course, there was a little resistance, and in the process, 9 Boko Haram terrorists were killed, as well as the recovery of some equipment that were captured, including 6 Dane guns, a GPMG, 4 mobile handsets, and the others are shown right on the screen. Now, also on the 16th of January, about 15:30 hours, our troops deployed at Mangunu received information of Boko Haram terrorist activity around Mararia village, which is along Mangunu-Mate Road. The troops, of course, in conjunction with the civilian JTF, trailed and had an encounter with the Boko Haram terrorists. And in the process, a Boko Haram terrorist was killed, and 2 AK-47 rifles, as well as 2 magazines, and 8 rounds of 7.62 millimeter
ammunition was also recovered. On the 18th, troops, of course, also at Musamari, Musara, as well as Gunari, intercepted 8 men who were conveying items that are suspected to be for the Boko Haram terrorists. The suspects, when they were searched, we discovered that one of them had 2 letters, with one of the letters requesting for the supply of 4 anti-aircraft guns by the Boko Haram terrorists. And other items in their possession included torchlight, handsets, and large quantities of wares, including drugs. And the sum of 341,000 naira was found on him. Perhaps that was maybe what was given to him to go and source for those items to go to supply to wherever they are located. That investigation is on, and it's actually given us very useful information that has been aiding our operations.
There's also been the release of persons who were held hostage, as well as locations where the basic means of sustenance of Boko Haram were hidden.
In 17th to 24th of January, troops conducted a very long-range patrol along just from Konduga Aziz, following to Yale and the direction of Gulumbagana. And then, of course, several recoveries were made, and I want you to view them right on the screen. So many hostages were rescued from Yale Aziz. These motorcycles belonged to the Boko Haram terrorists, which, of course, we gathered and they destroyed in situ. These were some of the wares and foodstuff that they had. Go ahead, continue, just run through. These are, you could see how they camouflage this. So even when the ISR is flying above, you cannot see that this is a meal which they were using to sustain themselves. These are part of the grains that they had in their reserve. Yes, so run through. We also realized that they even run a medicine store.
Arrests are also being made. The theater command has paraded several suspects in connection with the activities of the sect, from individuals who acted as medical personnel, suppliers, and others in the survival chain of activity.
So one of them, of course, is also the one that treats the Boko Haram terrorists. He runs something close to a medicine shop, a patent medicine shop. And then he has also had some studies in medical technology, something related field, so that has to do with medicine. So he felt he has qualified as a medical doctor, so he treats them as a doctor. So here you find 2 of them. Currently, they are still undergoing interrogation.
On the 10th, about 09:30 hours, own troops that are deployed behind the IDP camp in Mafa, in conjunction with the vigilantes, the civilian JTF, intercepted one Alaji, right on the board. I will not give his, his surname. He's aged 56 years, and the suspect, of course, it was identified to be the Amir, or the Boko Haram Amir, and that he is in our custody. Then, of course, on the 18th, at about 12:10 hours, following tip-off, own troops arrested one Abur, who, of course, was found in an ash-colored Golf vehicle at a military checkpoint. And eventually, because we were on his trail, we got to understand that this is the gentleman, or is he really a gentleman? This was the man who has been supplying fuel and foodstuff to the Boko Haram terrorists. So he's in our custody. Also on the 20th, at about 18:20 hours, our troops, in conjunction with the Nigerian police personnel here in Gombe, conducted a cordon and search operation, and based on some credible information. And during the operation, the Boko Haram terrorist named Ibrahim was arrested, and from interrogation, he admitted that he was part of those who attacked Chibok and Madagali. And so he's in our custody undergoing interrogation. Equally, on the 21st of January, our own troops, in conjunction with the vigilante, arrested one Ayuba, who is also a Boko Haram terrorist suspect, and he claimed to be a Malian citizen, and he also claimed that he could only speak French.
The army says that about 75% of the battle has been won. However, it has no intention to relax or reduce its pace, as Major General Lucky Rabas promised that the fleeing terrorists will have no peace because the battle must be 100% won and the terrorists arrested. While the military is mopping up the environment, there's a humanitarian crisis which needs to be curbed. According to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, since the insurgency began in 2009, more than 20,000 people have been killed, countless girls and women abducted, and children drafted as suicide bombers into Boko Haram. Up to 2.1 million people fled their homes at the height of the conflict, 1.8 million of whom are currently internally displaced, and 0.2 million in neighboring countries of Cameroon, Chad, and Niger. In the three most affected states of Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe, almost 7 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance, more than 50% of whom are children. In newly accessible areas, vulnerable host populations are in critical need of humanitarian interventions.
Crisis in northeast Nigeria requires an humanitarian intervention and also a recovery or development investment. And we have also made it clear that we have to bridge the humanitarian and development nexus in addressing the problem.
The World Food Programme estimates that the number of people struggling with severe food insecurity in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa State are over 1 million, and the amount needed to contain this problem is about $52 million. The federal government has also made several efforts to deal with the issue. One of the ways is through the Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative. The committee has projected that 45 billion naira will cover the needs of about 14 million people for food, water, clothes, and other necessities.
Another way the government intends to supply these needs is by coordination through the National Policy on IDPs.
The protection of IDPs in camps is very important, and that also explains why we need to ensure that, the reintegration of IDPs locally is important. Their return to a safe environment, is also important, and these are all clarified in the document. And that's why we're doing a last review of it, so that there will be no politics again in the document and its implementation.
Apart from the government's efforts, individuals, philanthropists, as well as non-government organizations have been busy on the scene, also seeking ways to restore normalcy. However, there's yet a lot to be done, especially in the area of education and skill acquisition for the youth. Psychologists have specifically asked that radicalization be given priority, but on different levels, everyone, including you, can make a donation which could change the life of an individual or a child who was affected by the insurgency. That's it for this special package, Boko Haram, Terror Unmasked. I'm Ini Thompson.